Okay, so good morning and welcome to this quarterly Waste Site Cleanup Advisory Committee meeting. As you all know, this meeting is being recorded and the recording will be available on MassDEP's YouTube channel. Closed captioning is also available, so look for that option at the bottom of your screen. Advisory committee members and the general public, please mute yourselves during presentations to minimize excess noise. You may unmute yourself for questions and discussion right after the presentation. You can also submit questions through the chat option, and those chat questions will be read out loud for discussion. And most importantly, we would like to invite our committee members first for feedback or questions, followed by the general public. Often also we see chat questions posted, and often these are of technical problems, speaker volume, nature. So if you are experiencing any of those technical glitches, please let us know so we can attempt to fix the problem. And of course, finally, please be patient during any possible technical glitches. Technology, as we know, it's great when it works and not so great when it doesn't. So we have a little bit of a packed agenda this morning. So we would be happy to continue our dialogue if in fact we go over the 11 o'clock hour. But we also want to be respectful of your time. So if you need to leave, feel free to peruse the recording that will be generated as part of this meeting today. So we totally understand if you need to leave. You can always refer back to the recording. So with that, Paul, if you don't mind, just moving on to slide number 2. And again, good morning and welcome everyone to this virtual meeting. My name is Millie Garcia-Serrano and I serve as the Bureau of Waste Site Cleanup's Assistant Commissioner. As you know, the Waste Site Cleanup Advisory Committee always meets on a quarterly basis. And as we know, this is the committee that serves to provide very important, significant input into MassDEP on waste site cleanup questions, regulations, policies, and programs. So we want to say thank you for your service. We really appreciate that. And together with our monthly BWSC office hours meetings, in my estimation, these forums provide an opportunity for interested parties to also meet Bureau staff and exchange important information. But most importantly, today and always, MassDEP is pledging to continue to provide a listening opportunity and also an ability for us to respond to questions, issues, and concerns that basically speak to our waste site cleanup program. This is the agenda that we've developed in concert with some of the advisory committee member suggestions. So this is what we have for today. And basically going over general waste site cleanup updates, data management system update, an NRD update, also just a check-in on the 2024 MCP amendments. We also want to reintroduce the topic of soils reuse, a very important topic. Likewise, provide you with a brownfields update, as well as PFAS updates, and basically note that we will be holding upcoming waste site cleanup and office hours meetings. And we'll wrap up. Next slide, please. Okay, so general BWSC updates, if you don't mind advancing to the next one. Okay, so basically we'd like to provide you here with a listing. We're going to be talking first about the Waste Site Cleanup Advisory Committee. Why don't we just roll to the next slide, please, Paul? So I'm very excited to be here today. I'm very excited for the opportunity to get to meet every single person that's listed on this advisory committee list. And likewise, some of y'all I've known for a few years now, and it's a pleasure to be here today. I want to tell you that our program simply could not be as responsive to public health issues without your important insight and commentary. And obviously, your input is so valuable, and this committee works when there is robust conversation. So I want to say, I look forward to that. I look forward to the hard questions. You may not receive an answer immediately, but I can reassure you that you will receive an answer. And also, likewise, the public at large, that is so important to ensure that we are working on the correct things. I do also today wish to express sincere appreciation to all of these volunteer members, all 11 individuals that really represent a very wide and diverse range of groups and specific sectors, and they all have a direct nexus to our cleanup program. So again, thank you so much to each and every person. And before introducing our newest committee member, I would like to first thank Mr. Ned Abelson, who served on this committee for many, many years with a lot of distinction and dedication. And Ned communicated to the Bureau that he was stepping down from this important role, which he has done so beautifully in the past, representing the real estate commercial lending sector. And I just want to say, on behalf of MassDEP, myself included also, and all staff, thank you very much, Ned, for your terrific service. I wish you continued success in all of your endeavors. Thank you so much for so great commentary and shaping our program. We do appreciate that. As such, I would like to introduce Ms. Lisa Camp of Whitwer and Curran. She has been recommended to serve as the real estate commercial lending sector representative of this committee. And I know Lisa from going to school with her. She is fantastic. It's a pleasure to work with you, Lisa. And I want to tell the public that you hold a BS in geology from Duke University, and again, a master's in public health from Boston University. And throughout your life, you have applied all your education and all your effort as an environmental professional, an environmental risk assessor, and a licensed site professional for over 30 years. It's always a pleasure to know and see you and watch you in action, working on a variety of professional committees that include serving as the current co-chair of NIOP, the Brownfields Environmental Committee, and also a former co-chair and current member of the LSPA Regulations Committee. And of course, most impressive for me, demonstrating that connection with the locals, municipal and cities and towns, serving as a member of your town's Board of Health. So I just wanted to give you at least 1 minute space here to say what you got to say. And again, Lisa, in all advisory committees, I'm really excited and I look forward to working with you now in the future. So with that, Lisa.
Oh, I didn't know I was going to speak. So thank you very much for that kind introduction. I know I have big shoes to fill with Ned, but I think I can bring a sort of a different lens maybe to the committee, being pretty deep in the risk assessment area, as well as an LSP, and focusing a lot on PFAS and things like biosolids that are a little less, more on the skinny branches of some of the work we do as part of LSPs. So I'm really looking forward to working with the committee. I think it's a great group, and I'm excited for you to start sort of leading us and directing us in these efforts. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa. Next slide, please. Okay, so I just wanted to touch base on budget and staffing, and I'm just combining these two topics because for whatever reason they always seem to go hand in hand. On the budget side, MassDEP is very grateful that Governor Healy recognized the need to bolster MassDEP's ranks to meet our critical and ever-expanding mission. In her FY24 budget, the governor provided and the legislature approved nearly 80 expansion positions for our agency. And what that translates into on the hiring side of the house is that MassDEP got right to work, conducting an extensive and fast-paced hiring process focused on securing the best and most diverse talent. I'm here to say we're delighted to have onboarded almost all of these new colleagues and to see their impact. They're already making a lot of progress across all our programs and across the state. For site cleanup, for example, our expansion positions included 2 PFAS positions in Boston, 1 environmental justice position in Boston also, and many analyst and engineer positions across the regions. So I want to thank our commissioner, Bonnie Heipel, who works tirelessly to support our agency and its mission And also, she does a lot to support our program. As noted, again, new roles that came about since March. I just want to highlight that in March 2024, Commissioner Heipel appointed me to serve as the Bureau's Assistant Commissioner in consideration of Liz Callahan's retirement. For some of y'all that may know me from the past, I started as a Deputy Regional Director in the Southeast region for the Bureau of Wayside Cleanup, and then I was promoted to Regional Director in 2015. Later also served as the chair of the Licensed Site Professional Board for a few years, and last year I served for 6 months as the acting executive director of the LSP board. So I'm just glad to have been provided with this opportunity, and I thank our Commissioner Heipel for placing faith in me and being able to carry out the functions that are necessary as part of serving as an Assistant Commissioner. And hopefully also through my ties with the Association of State and Territorial Solid Waste Management Officials, which is a national Washington, D.C. based association that focuses on land programs. I served as the vice president, and now past president. I will be able to bring some insight with regards to connecting our Massachusetts issues with the issues across the 50 states and 5 territories in the District of Columbia. So excited for this opportunity. And again, I look forward to each and every one of you to provide me with guidance, insight, input with regards to how to best steer this ship that we call Bureau of Wayside Cleanup. I also want to tell you that in March, after I stepped down as the chair of the Licensed Site Board, the commissioner very wisely selected and appointed Ms. Diane Baxter as the new LSP board chair. And Diane currently serves in the role of division director for the Federal Grants Division. Diane is fantastic. I've known Diane for many years. Diane is also a licensed site professional and extremely capable when it comes to connecting the dots and putting on her MCP glasses on when we're actually performing reviews and assessments and anything that has to do with federal facilities and Superfund sites. Diane brings tremendous experience to the board, and I'm delighted that she's chosen to serve as the chair. Thank you, Diane. Also, expansion positions, as we spoke, almost 80 expansion positions, which is a big deal for MassDEP. Some of those positions actually were strategically selected to carry out the mission and respond to the challenges of perfluorinated compounds and contamination across media. So with that, I'm delighted to introduce John Ziegler formally to this advisory committee. And John Ziegler is the former Bureau of Wayside Cleanup Deputy Regional Director in the Western region. And again, as noted, he is the new statewide PFAS coordinator within the Policy and Planning Division. John is a joy to work with. He is sage, smart, very measured, never reactive, and always very wise with regards to looking at all the points of view and perspectives. And I really am excited and welcome the opportunity of working more directly with John, as I feel that you all will too. So thank you, John, for stepping into this very important role. Likewise, Amita Naik, she is now also reporting to John Ziegler. She is tremendous when it comes to getting in front of research, development, technology. Amita is going to be a fantastic addition to our PFAS core team, and therefore also reporting within the Policy and Planning Division. So thank you, Amita, for taking on this very important challenge. You know, you've got my support and the entire support of the Bureau. Likewise, Abigail Anderson. It's really exciting to know that obviously environmental justice continues to be a very, very important emphasis added in every work, in everything that we do, not just at site cleanup, but also across the agency. With the advent of the 78, almost 80 positions, we were fortunate to hire Abigail Anderson. So Abby is the new environmental justice coordinator. She's situated within the Brownfields program. And what that means is that we get a 2-for-1. She's actually working very closely with David Foss, which is wonderful. And Abby is going to be keeping us always with EJ on the forefront of the work we do to ensure that we are serving the community, not only environmental justice communities and neighborhoods, but also the general public at large with the guiding principles of environmental justice. So thank you, Abby, so much. I am delighted to work with you, and I hereby introduce you to this advisory committee. As you all can imagine, with John migrating over to the Boston office, there was an opening in Western Region. I am delighted to introduce to you Catherine Skiba. And Catherine is a former Bureau of Administrative Services Deputy Regional Director in the Western Region, and she is now serving in the acting BWSC Deputy Regional Director role. So if you have any questions, concerns, anything to do with site cleanup program issues in the Western Region, kindly please contact Ms. Catherine Skiba. And again, I'm delighted and excited to work with Catherine as she is continuing to provide much leadership in the Western Region. Most importantly, before we jump into the journal updates, I also want to wholeheartedly thank Liz Callahan, who for more than 37 years of service to Massachusetts, and as I call it, the creator, one of the founding mothers of the MCP. She's retired. I think she will be with us maybe a couple more weeks, but again, I just want to say her unmatched dedication to the Bureau of Waste Site Cleanup, her creativity and just candor and lightheartedness is really what, to me, defines a terrific public servant that we will miss a lot. So, Liz, thank you so much for your service, and I look forward to seeing you somewhere out in the trails. Okay, so I will provide you a little bit of, let's see, we went over the new advisory committee members, the staffing, new roles. Let's touch base on legislative affairs. So on the legislative affairs side, the Senate budget and amendment process is currently underway. Site cleanup and other MassDEP programs are currently tasked with reviewing proposals for the administration, and those proposals specifically that are related to our programs. DEP's legislative director is also keeping track of all the bills, and then the governor will review the bills once they reach her desk. And I just wanted to highlight one important bill that we are tracking, and that's the actual PFAS omnibus bill. So DEP across all the programs also, we continue to follow and engage on the PFAS omnibus bill. And this bill, as you know, was redrafted by the Committee on Public Health, and it's currently being reviewed by the Committee on Healthcare Financing. Healthcare financing has until 6/1/24 to either extend a review of the bill, report the bill out favorably, which moves it along into the legislative process, potentially with redrafted language, or send the bill back to study, which pretty much ends consideration of the bill for this particular legislative session. So the currently legislative session ends on 7/31/24. So what that means is if the bill is not passed by both the House and the Senate and not signed into law by the governor, it will need to be refiled in January 2025 for consideration in the next legislative session. All right, why don't we go to technical assistance grants, if you don't mind? TAGs, technical assistance grant funding, FY 25-26. So TAGs continue to serve a very important role and purpose to support effective public involvement, particularly during assessment cleanup phases of any disposal site. And as many of you all know, I personally know for a fact, both as a former regional person and now working in Boston, TAGs are really popular. And they have had much significant past success, which is the reason why our Bureau continues to dedicate funding to this very important program. I also want to tell you that we are anticipating up to $200,000 dedicated to TAGs. And at this time, Any interested party should view our TAG webpage. Starting on June 4th, 2024, we will have the materials available for anyone to review, and hopefully it provides for good information, important information to make a decision as to whether they're eligible. The application deadline is scheduled for September 6, 2024, and I look forward for this information to be passed along to anybody that is interested in assisting the community and citizens groups. These are the folks that are always looking for that expertise to assist and help understand the process, how the process works, or technical issues or concerns. Our goal, again, is to enhance that public education and ensure that there is robust participation so that we can have better response and cleanup actions as a result. Thank you. If you don't mind just sliding to the next one. I just wanted to talk to you about something that is at the heart of our program. And as we all know, it all starts with that oil hazardous materials release. It all starts with that notification. And in between, we have the Bureau of Waste Site Cleanup and Emergency Response Program and all the staff that's based out of Boston and the 4 regional offices. They continue to remain very busy, responding to releases and threats of releases of oil and hazardous materials 24/7, 365. That's how it goes with that program. You might want to be interested in learning that statewide, in fiscal year 23, ER responded to 1,106 releases, and there were over 1,050 complaints that came into our program. In FY24, so the figures between July 1st and December 2023, ER has responded to 367 releases thus far and 461 complaints. And overall, it's an interesting breakdown of contamination to the tune of, for example, 74% of these notifications and or releases actually speak to 74% oil, 24% hazardous materials, and then commingled, it's around 3%. So we have an interesting, anticipated and often traditional oil releases first, followed by hazardous materials, and then the commingled plumes. Clearly, keeping our cities and towns safe and the environment clean is at the helm of our mission. And this goal really starts with the important work, again, that's performed by the responders. And today, I would like to recognize one of our esteemed waste site cleanup colleagues, Mr. Dan Crafton, who after 30 years of state service, he retired effective May 3rd, 2024. And Dan dedicated much of his tenure as a responder first, followed by his service as the ER section chief in the Southeast region. We are very grateful for his dedication and work, and I will personally never, ever forget Dan, both as a person and as a professional. The leadership that he imparted, particularly during the 2003 catastrophic Bouchard tanker spill affecting 10 South Coast towns, it really truly proved that it is possible to handle stressful and very difficult situations with much grace and composure. So thank you, Dan, for leaving a very important mark at MassDEP. You will be missed. At the same time, I'd also like to announce that Andy Jones has agreed to serve as the acting emergency response section chief. I am grateful for his service and for his agreeing to step up into this very important role. Andy is terrific. So for licensed site professionals or the general public, if you need to connect with Andy, you will also agree with me after a few seconds that Andy will provide exceptional service to the department and the Bureau specifically. So thank you. Specific to the Massachusetts Marine Oil Spill Prevention and Response Act program, I just wanted to tell you this is a really important program. And thus far, this particular program has executed 160 geographic response strategies. We call them GRSs. And they actually are developed to identify sensitive coastal locations that need to be protected. And they establish all of the spill response plans, very specific and customized to those areas. MOSPRA has also successfully funded the procurement and maintenance of approximately 83 oil spill response trailers. And these are trailers that are staged throughout 70 coastal communities across the coast of Massachusetts. And that's the first line of defense when you have some kind of spill on the coast, to provide local responders with equipment to very rapidly respond to oil spills. It's been really wonderful being able to join hands with the local communities, and especially our local first responders. And as such, we have been conducting GRS testing exercises routinely. I just wanted to highlight for you that so far we have completed 8 exercises in 2023. And also 10 exercises are planned for 2024, with 5 completed to date. And it was really exciting. On April 25th, we actually celebrated the 100th exercise. It happened to coincide with Earth Week, which was fantastic. We had Commissioner Bonnie Heupel out there and at Citrus Harbor, and we were able to talk about this program, and for her and everybody there to firsthand experience what it's like to respond to a spill, and what kinds of boom tactics, etc., are contained within the GRS. And therefore, that was a beautiful day, quite successful. And we're very happy and proud to say that over 2,550 local first responders have been trained to date. So we continue to carry that spirit and ensure that we are preparing our responders to do the best they can to address any kind of oil release, hazardous materials in a fast and protective manner. So thank you to all the ER folks that make this happen. That is my summary of BWSC updates. I'd like to see if there are any questions from the advisory committee, followed by questions from members of the public. Susan.
Hi, Millie. Thank you for that summary. I just had a question. So you said there were 74% of the reported emergency response were oil spills.
Correct.
How many of those were coastal? Do you know?
So I can drill down to that information, and happy to do that. That was just sort of like a big picture. Tell me oil versus hazardous materials. But
Yeah, the reason I'm asking
Mhm.
is because there are oil spills that happen on roadways inland that can seriously affect major rivers.
Yeah,
We had one in Arlington a number of years ago, as you might know,
yeah.
which was an NRDA project
Mhm.
afterwards. So I'm just wondering if there's any consideration of DEP to put any of the trailers along major river communities versus just coastal and training coastal folks about oil spill,
Yeah,
emergency response.
of course. So I will definitely take that into advisement. I can tell you that anytime there is a connection between a river and that eventually flows into a marine environment, we always have a potential nexus to view that and work with that. We wanted to fully equip the marine coastal first, just because that seems to be the priority of the Marine Oil Spill Prevention and Response Act. But certainly, whether it's working with our US EPA partners in inland responses, as opposed to Coast Guard lead in a marine environment, national waters, we will happily look at the potential for bringing on these trailers to other communities. So
Okay.
let me look into
Millie,
that, Susan.
Millie, if I could add a little bit, this is Paul.
Yeah,
I
thank
haven't
you.
actually figured out how I can raise my hand.
You can just speak.
We actually have, I believe, 10 trailers on away from the shoreline.
Oh, great.
Part of the problem, and we've done trainings in the past for the inland trailers as well. Part of the kind of difference that you're seeing is that we have funding through MOSPRA specifically for the coastal trailers. So that's a lot easier to kind of set up and kind of do on an ongoing basis. The inland is funded through the 21E bond fund. So we have that money has to be spread, a number of different places, but there are 10 trailers out there. I believe it's 10 strategically located throughout the state.
Thanks, Paul. I wasn't aware of that.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? If not, we can move on to Brian Roden, who's going to be providing us with an update on the BWC data management system.